Alright, so here we have a game between, let's go ahead and mark this as white. We have verse. There we are. So once again, we have a Japanese player versus a Korean player. Some of you who actually study a lot of professional games, keep up to date on this sort of thing, will probably know which tournament I'm pulling these from. If you don't, I'll probably go ahead and put links to the full games in my profile later on. That way you can go ahead and download them and look at the entire game, how it turns out. But like the last one, I'm not going to go over it all. Suffice it to say, in this one, Hane Naoki is black and Kang Donghyun is white. And I thought this was also a nice, interesting example of mid-game fighting. Now the intro, why do I keep saying intro? The Fuseki is pretty standard. A lot of you guys are going to recognize this. Black simply goes ahead and encloses, white approaches, because we don't typically go ahead and split here when there's a 3-4 still open. Very common mistake. Doing this, you're inviting enclosures. You're inviting a lot of really bad stuff. Here, for example, we can't really play this way. It gives too much to white, or to black, sorry. And this way, we have to be careful because it invites a really nasty fight the moment we're pincered. Much easier simply reapproach to go ahead and approach the open cornerstone. This probe is very, very common here at S16. I'm not going to go over this a lot. Yeah, yes. I think the last one was as well. I think it's both from the first round, if I recall. Or, I don't know. Either round 1 or 2. Sadly, I don't think any of the Japanese players made it past the second round. I'm not going to go ahead and go into a lot of detail about this. Suffice it to say, after the crosscut, the last thing you want to do is Atari the inside stone, because these forcing moves are very, very powerful for white to get. Black simply being enclosed in the corner, while white's actually developing on the outside at the cost of 1 stone. Definitely not a very good result. So black pushes white away before securing himself in the corner. White goes back and finishes just Joseki, and everyone's nice and happy. Black got the territory that he wanted. White settled on the right-hand side. He's getting a little bit more than if he had simply played Joseki and extended it R10. I mean, he's got a little bit more influence here. There's still Aji at Q16. But he's not making a ridiculous framework. So it's a little bit better than simply playing regular Joseki, but it's not one-sided, because black is getting a lot of territory. That's pretty solid territory, too. Can't really do much about that right now. Moving along. Why doesn't black play P4 instead? P4. That's more of a move we're going to play when we already know that we're going to build something on the bottom of the board. Right now, we've got no idea. I mean, we could play this, and I guess we're now committed into playing a move on the bottom. We've got to play something here, and that's going to be Gote. We can't really play all the way across, because maybe our opponent's going to pincer us, and we won't get that. That's always possible too. I mean, now you have to wonder, what am I going to get here as black? Bit of a strange position, because P4 is aiming at expanding along the bottom, and now that's completely not going to happen. Whereas if maybe black had already had something on the bottom of the board, let's say they already made this exchange, doesn't make any sense, but let's say they did, then maybe p4 is a nice valid play, because you're looking to expand along the bottom. Rather than playing something, let's go back to the move tool, or edit tool, rather than playing something along the third line, and now having yourself all nice and flat and able to be reduced. White doesn't have a framework, though, so you'd be thinking about breaking the influence from something that doesn't exist. I really wouldn't consider this a framework just yet. It's all third line. It's not really expanding into the center. It's going to be kind of difficult to expand in the center, because even if let's go back to normal. Even if, let's say, go away. Let's say white goes ahead and tries to play large here. Well, you also have to keep in mind there's a lot of points for invasion still. I mean, we can still actually go ahead and try jumping back in here and see what happens. We can try maybe peeping here, since the cut through is huge, and see what happens. There's a lot of ways to reduce this. Oops, not that one, this one. So instead of worrying about that, black simply goes ahead and approaches a corner. White pincers. This variation wouldn't make much sense, because black has no reason to develop influence here. So he's not going to play it, he's going to change direction, because we do have a reason to develop the top. Fairly straightforward. Played Joseki here. This move is very important. The one here at e14. With it, black can't play elsewhere. Otherwise, this attachment is very, very large. Black has to be very, very careful, because if we try and keep this in, looks like the corner might be about to get killed if we connect our stones up. Well, now we've been completely enclosed. Even without it, this is a very, very powerful forcing move. So there's a lot of agi there, now that we've got e14. So black plays on the move on top of the board. Otherwise, we're going to see that A or maybe B later on, and that's very, very large. So white continues opening, taking large points. Black takes a large point. White takes the very last one, and now we have mid-game. The lovely portion in all of our games, in which we can finally start to really get to fighting. Our favorite pastime. Yes, Mortal Kombat. Now, we can argue about where black should play for a very, very long time. I mean, he's got options. He can try coming in, he can try doing something in the corner. He can worry about the right-hand side. But black decides to come in. Is d2 wrong? d2 isn't wrong, but it's going to be uncomfortable, because you're going to fall under severe attack probably very, very quickly. I mean, white right now isn't going to play passive and simply say, sure, go on out into my middle. I didn't want it anyway. White's probably going to keep you low. How is e2 any different from this? Well, this actually has a lot of different options available to you. There's a... yeah, it's a point over. This has a lot of different follow-ups. For example, we've got c3. We can go ahead and play this way. Let's see, is there this? Back. If we play here, then white might say, I want the fourth line. Oh, you meant for black. Yeah, e2 for black. That's what this is. If we play this way, then you've given white the option of trying to take his fourth line territory. After that, where's your base coming from? It looks like you're a little bit cramped here. So it's all a question of how you can, what you can actually do to live, what your follow-ups are going to be after you play the move. And in this case, you have to consider that you're going to have to make life between these two stones, which might be a bit difficult. In any event, black plays h3. Shoulder-headed g3 seems good. Oh, under any other variation. Yeah, okay, I see. So in this question, we have to decide what we're going to do. How are we going to respond to this particular invasion? Because it is a bit of an invasion. I mean, clearly this area is supposed to be white's, and black has invaded. We probably don't want to respond too passively, since this is the first real fight of the game. Hello. So how are we going to turn this to our advantage? For that, we have to ask ourselves a very, very important question. What is it white wants on this board? If you were white, and you were trying to fight for something, what would it be? Any ideas? Center influence. More people saying in the center, in the middle, yes. Corner. Ew. No, we're not fighting for corners. We're fighting more for using our thickness that we have. These fourth line stones. This little batch of thickness we've got over here on the upper left hand. This is what we really want to use. The whole bottom right corner of the board? I don't see the bottom right corner of the board. This area? I don't know. Anyway, yes, we do want to go ahead and develop that. So we're probably going to try and make it hard for this one stone to settle. If it's hard to settle, then it has to run. If it has to run, then we can follow it and develop that area that we've been trying to get. So white pincers. Now black has an option. Do we simply run in a straight line? Maybe not. Might not be a really good idea. Ah, the left. Now I see what you're saying. That makes a bit of a difference. Black decides not to simply run in a straight line. This is too prone to counterattack. Even something as simple as a cap right now, we can immediately see white's instant development. We've been kept out, we're now in trouble. Because we have to live with our group here. At the same time, we have to worry about the left being developed. I actually saw a movie involving that, and it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. So black attaches, trying to settle himself. White makes it hard. Black goes ahead and cuts. And now, again, we have to ask ourselves, what are we trying to do? We want the middle. So maybe the K4 stone is most important, and that might be the one we're tempted to save. But we're also trying to make it difficult for black to live. So L3 is also important. We don't want to just go ahead and give it up, allowing black to take the entire bottom of the board. So we have to save our weakest stone, yes, as Severus just mentioned. So for that, we're going to go ahead and extend L3. It's in danger of being killed immediately. White finds that black has no option but to struggle against the outside stone. Descends for I shape, because if we simply keep going up like this, for example, well, this is not a shape that's probably going to live. Ever. This is something that simply belongs in Tetris. So black descends for I shape. White moves to surround. Black threatens to go ahead and kill those L3 stones, which obviously white's going to save. Would make absolutely no sense simply giving them up without a fight. This is also a very interesting move. Does anyone know what we're trying for by playing L6? Because surely white can just connect with A now. It's white's move. If those stones are in danger, he's just going to go ahead and connect them at A like I mentioned now. So no, probably no Tsuji at... There we go. Yes, H6. If black manages to attach there, white's going to be in a lot of trouble. So that's where white responds. If he saves this move, or those stones rather, then what do we do? This is a bit of a problem, because we can't Hane, otherwise our stones have been captured. All we can do is run away. And suddenly this is looking very, very fine for black. Black is safe. Black is safe and black is out. Whereas white has to be careful of not being killed. Now, is he getting a large area in the center? Sure, but it's going to be Gote and probably reduced. Or worse yet, what if he's already alive? And black decides to go ahead and live. Because keep in mind, though it looks risky, this is going to live. So we have a lot of problems if we actually ignore that group. Black can take advantage of us in many different ways. So white saves the group that's in trouble. Black threatens to come out and get some eye shape for himself. White profits. And black goes back to kill. Right away, this might seem like we've got a problem here now for white. And it is. Black's trying to kill us. But you have to keep in mind what we're really after here. We're after that development that we mentioned earlier. So as black tries to keep killing our stones, which we can see he's doing a fairly decent job of trying now. And I've completely missed a move because I was talking and not thinking. And now I'm just being retarded. There. There, there, there. There we go. That's normal. As we can see, black is trying very, very hard to kill white stones. There's a lot of Aji. Can try and push and cut through. But it's not really going to work. Here is what's going to work. How so? How will black get center influence? The end 7 stones. Ah, I see. So instead of connecting here, you want to go ahead and Atari and then take these 2 stones, letting white connect. Unless you can kill all the stones. Yeah, that's a nice thing to keep in mind too. But by playing this, you have to be careful. You have to ask yourself, are you really alive? I mean, you might have to go back and make sure that this group here isn't going to suddenly die on you. Indeed, that is true. You have to go back here and live, somehow. Let's just assume that's alive. There. Nice and alive. So I guess you're going to live in Gote. Giving white Sente to, let's see, what would white do here? Probably play something like this, I guess. Keep as much for himself as possible. Instead, black decides to not do that. He goes ahead and prevents white from leaving. So white has no choice but to Atari's way to freedom, somewhat a vulgar way of playing. Kills off white stones, but he's doing that again in Gote. Granted, in this case, this is a very large corner that he's getting. But white gets Sente to continue to expand. And suddenly white's position is clear. He wanted to develop the middle, and that's precisely what he was fighting for. When mid-game fighting broke out, back when... what was it, this move? No, this move. Haha. When mid-game fighting broke out back here, that is what he played for. Simply to go ahead and develop that center. Make sure that black can't get into it. Wasn't really concerned too much with going back and killing black, because killing one group's kind of hard to do. But he's going to profit while he's attacking it. Only problem is when we do this, we have to know where our profit's coming from, and here it's quite clear. It's going to be coming from this side. It's going to be coming from the center. So we use every opportunity, essentially, to go ahead and develop that middle, now that he knew what he was trying to do. Usually when you know what you're trying to do, it makes finding moves a lot easier. He didn't waste his time, for example, trying to figure out, well, can I reduce this any? He went directly to where his profit was and fought to develop it. These are the kinds of things that definitely have to be made aware of when mid-game fighting begins. You have to ask yourself where you can profit and how you're going to go about doing that when fighting actually breaks out. So that's two quick examples of that. Let's see, what was my third one? Though it has gone on for quite some time now, I suppose. Let's go back offline and see what this was like. Well, actually, no, that's not going to work, is it? Because that's all cramped and disgusting now. No, I can do that.